All right, we are back. This time we are trying to solve a mystery. Recently I purchased a 2021 CRF 450, and the reason why I bought that bike to prove a point, which is the Japanese can be just as bad as the KTM. The Austrian engineer, I get a lot of heat because I keep saying German engineering and not Austrian engineering. But the point is, the Japanese bike can be just as bad as the KTMs far as things getting sideways. In this engine, the crankcase is broken, and we're gonna try to find out why is the crankcase broke. So when I went to pick up this 450 from a gentleman, we ended up starting it up for a few seconds, and as soon as he started up, it died right after that, and it made a terrible sound. So I said, this would be good for me to fix it. And I didn't really know what I might get into it. I'll be honest with you. I saw the crankcase was broken, but I said, well, yeah, I could take that challenge. And I ended up taking the engine apart. So now I know why the crankcase is broken. I think I know why the crankcase is broken. I have a theory, which is I'm going to share with you. I also looked up the social media, online platforms, and I found a lot of people has these problems. Surprisingly, we never heard of it, or at least I never heard of it, because the Honda guys are so enthusiastic. Even when they're talking about their crankcase is broken, they're not talking about the same way as the KTM guys talking about it. Let's just, they were much nicer. They have a very nice tone. So I ended up picking up the bike for $2,100, and I think I made a good deal. I didn't really care how bad it sounds like. It's a good project for me, no matter what. I saw online people talking about just a labor cost. It was like $2,600. That's how much the dealer tried to fix the bike, plus the parts. The parts on my end, it cost $840. That's including the seals, like pretty much everything, even really the unnecessary items. Just make sure the bike performs the way it's supposed to be. So I'm going to replacing a bunch of seals, gears, bearings, a bunch of stuff. But anyway, $840, that's where I'm at right now. And then my labor cost, which is pretty much, I look at it like a fun project, so I'm willing to do it for free. And the gentleman told me he worked on it. He tried to, one obvious reason when we're saying he worked on it is he actually put that 2-compound glue on it. I cannot remember what it's called. But he tried to glue the crankcase. And the second thing he tried to do is replacing the one-way clutch, which is he actually did because he thought that's the problem. So he replaced the clutch, and when he started up the engine still sounded terrible, and it was just barely managed to start it up. So obviously that a one-way clutch didn't fix the problem, or what he think it did. Even I looked at the one-way clutch, and it didn't look good at all. So I really appreciate him to spending like $380 to replace that. On the other hand, when I took the engine case apart, I found quite a lot of wear on the starter motor. Plus, the gear was connected to the starter motor. And in my theory, the reason why the engine failed because the starter motor gear wear out, and it jumped a gear, like it didn't follow the gear path. It just actually jumped one. and that's what's opened the crankcase up, because nothing else wrong with it other than that part. And when I moved the engine, it was still cracking. It just didn't feel right. And the starter gear plus the starter motor has an extremely large amount of wear on it. I screwed up. I told you too early what's wrong with the bike, and I also told you too early what causes the problem, and unfortunately that didn't satisfy YouTube algorithm because we just didn't spend enough time together to satisfy that famous YouTube algorithm. What I'm gonna do to make it right, I'm gonna add a little clip on the end, and the clip is about me taking the engine apart. I kind of like that. It puts me in the mood. You just listen to the tools. Not much really else going on. Really just taking the engine apart and finding out what causes the problem as it goes. So you actually going to see that in real time. What the